Hey, it's Gary Mears. It's good to be with you. We're starting a new video message series here at Faith Chapel today, here the first week of May. We're going to be talking about great words, great messages from the epistles, that is, the letters of the New Testament. This series will go through June, perhaps the end of July, and they're going to be quick. These are going to be 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most, which I hope will teach you a little bit about some stuff that you didn't know about in the New Testament, and also provide some words of encouragement to you. This first one today is from the book of Hebrews. Now, Hebrews is a curious book in that we don't exactly know who wrote it. We don't exactly know who it was written for. And while it's referred to as a letter, as an epistle, it doesn't really read like a letter. Nonetheless, Hebrews is great, and you should read it if you haven't. Well, we call these books, and they're short. You could probably read the book of Hebrews in 45 minutes, and I would encourage you to do so. Today's passage, though, comes from Hebrews chapter 12, and it says this: "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of the faith." So, let's break this down. It starts off with, "Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses." So, as I said, this is Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 11 is often referred to as the Faith Hall of Fame because it recounts stories of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, of Moses, of perhaps lesser known folks like Rahab and Gideon and Barak, perhaps of Samson and King David and Samuel and the rest of the prophets. So chapter 12 draws on these stories to encourage us that this great cloud of witnesses surrounded then and surrounds us still today. Again, "Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles." So, there's sin that so easily entangles, and we could talk about that. But let's talk about the first part of this. Let us throw off everything that hinders. So there's other stuff that is not in and of itself sin, but it still gets in the way. It gets in the way of us leading the lives we're called to live. And that could be anything. Anything that we're obsessed over. Whether we're obsessed over our career or money or possessions or bad relationships. Anything that's keeping us from attaining our God-given potential. Anything that's keeping us from leading the lives we're called to give. That's the stuff we're stalled to get rid of, all those things that hinder. And of course, the sin that so easily entangles us and gets us bogged down and going in the wrong direction. Hebrews here calls us to shed all that stuff. Let us shed all that stuff and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. So, first, there's a race marked out for me. I guess I better go find it. And I guess you should too. And then once we find it, we're called to run with perseverance. So I guess it's not going to be easy. Bummer, I was kind of hoping it was going to be easy, but I guess not. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of the faith. So, in the New Testament, in Matthew chapter 14, Peter walks on water. They see Jesus walking on the water outside the boat, and everything's going great. Jesus calls him to come out, and Peter says, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And Jesus said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and started walking on water and came towards Jesus. But then things go wrong. But then Peter noticed the strong wind, and he became frightened, and he began to sink, and he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand, Matthew says, and caught him, saying, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" I pulled this story in because as long as Peter was focused on Jesus, things were going great, better than great. He was walking on water. But when he became distracted by the winds and the waves and other things, that's when he began to sink. And the same is true for us. But notice that when he sank, that's when Jesus was there to save him. And the same is true for us. So this story from Matthew about Peter walking on water with Jesus helps us understand these words in Hebrews that say, let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of the faith. So, given all this, let's work to throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. A, knowing there's a race marked out for us. And B, knowing that we'll never run it alone. Have a great day. Have a great week. As always, it's good to be with you. If you want to talk some more about Hebrews and what it means to run with perseverance or any of these stories, give me a holler. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, everybody. See you soon.